Hare Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gopamanande, Hari Hari Bol. Before we begin, I'll just ask if you have any questions or doubts, confusion, or all three simultaneously. When I was leaving for lunch, I told some devotees, what I'm teaching today is not complicated. It just seems complicated because you may have not been thinking in this way before, and you're trying to adjust your mind to make sense because you think it maybe contradicts some things. Yes? So we are supposed to surrender completely to Krishna, right? Should you surrender your intelligence? You could over-surrender. And you can, in the name of surrender, you could neglect yourself. Okay, we have to plug this in, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So, this section is entitled, Does Krishna Really Love Me? So, the purpose of this section is to convince you that Krishna loves you, even if you don't believe it. Why would Krishna love me? I'm rascal number one, lower than a worm and stool, the most fallen of all fallen. So what do we have to do to show my screen? Because it's not showing the PowerPoint. That's not my screen, I don't think. Is it? Duplicate? That's not the screen I want to show, though. How do we get the full screen? Go back how? Oops. Make it bigger. Okay. All right. Why would Krishna love me? I don't even love him. Sometimes I try to forget him. Sometimes I read his instructions and I don't like them. Sometimes I might even find fault with him, why he allows things to happen in my life. So why would he love me? And there's a lot of devotees that have a lot more love for Krishna than maybe I will ever have. So he has enough people loving him, enough devotees loving him. If I don't love him, why would he care? So these are the kind of doubts we might have. Any of you ever think like this? Only one? Any of you not ever think like this? Okay. That's closer, yeah. All right. Are you ready? Are you ready? Can you imagine? This is so weird. But Krishna is canvassing us, asking us to join a relationship with him. And we're running away. Isn't that weird? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the one who is full in all opulence, the most beautiful, the most intelligent, the wealthiest, the most renounced, the most everything, is running after us to have a relationship. And what do we say? You ever chant japa look something like this? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. If you were translating that into English, what would it sound like? If someone was talking like, Krishna says, I want a relationship with you, and you're like, whatever. Shnick, shnick, ram, ram. Shouldn't we be running after Krishna for the relationship? And him saying, well, I don't know if you deserve it. But instead, he's running after us, and we're saying, I don't know if I'm interested. Isn't that weird? Isn't that like the weirdest thing you've ever heard in your life? Yes? I think it's weird. Okay. We're going to change all that in the next half hour. Are you ready? Krishna wants you. Self-love is nurtured by accepting that Krishna cares about me, loves me, and wants a relationship with me. So here's a little mantra. I love myself because Krishna loves me. Let's say it together. I love myself because... Okay. So let's meditate on this. Even if you don't believe Krishna loves you, I will convince you he does. So just believe it for now, so we can kind of go more deeply, more quickly. So, Krishna loves you, right? Krishna loves you and you don't love yourself. Do you think that's a problem for him? Like you give someone a gift and they never open it up. You just keep it in their drawer, and then you find out a week later that they're not going to open the gift because they don't think they deserve it. Or because they don't think you really love them, or whatever stupid thing. Yeah. So Krishna gives you the gift of love. Don't you think he wants you to take that gift and use it? Krishna gives you the instruction how to go back to him. Don't you think he wants you to take those instructions, give those instructions to yourself, follow those instructions? So one of the best ways to love yourself is to take Krishna's instructions and follow them. That's what he wants. So I'm going to read that again. I love myself because Krishna loves me. Say it together. Love myself. Love myself because Krishna. Does that make sense to you, or you want me to talk more about it? Don't you think it's wrong if Krishna loves you and you don't love yourself? If Krishna wants to give him to you and you don't think you deserve it, don't you think that he doesn't like that? Krishna comes to speak Bhagavad Gita. He knocks on your door. Hello, this is Krishna, I have Bhagavad Gita. You say, sorry, I don't deserve it. You can go to the next person. Maybe they're more worthy than I am. That would be weird, don't you think? Yes? So if that's weird, then any kind of I don't deserve it is weird. Because Krishna's not giving it to you because you deserve it. He's giving it to you because he wants you to have it. There's a difference, right? Yes? But I don't deserve it. So, I don't care. I'm giving it to you. No, take it back. I don't deserve it. That's what we're doing. If we say Krishna doesn't love me, or I'm not worthy of accepting his love, we're giving it back. Now, I have a question for you. If I had in my bag enough rupees to give you all 1 million rupees each, how many of you would not come and take it saying, I don't deserve it? Zero. So why, when Krishna gives his love, we would say, I don't deserve it? And as we know, Mahaprabhu gives mercy to those who don't deserve it. That's his mission, right? So if Mahaprabhu comes to give mercy, Krishna comes to give love, who are we? What right do we have to say I'm not qualified? What right do we have to deny it? And therefore, What right do we have to think, oh, I'm not worthy, I don't like myself, Krishna doesn't like me? That's offensive, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. Okay. This slide is entitled, I am not good enough. If you feel you're not good enough, then who are you not good enough for? It probably means you don't feel good enough for yourself. But if you sincerely try to practice Krishna consciousness, you are good enough for Guru and Krishna. The belief that I am not good enough to be loved by Krishna has nothing to do with bhakti, since bhakti doesn't depend on material qualifications. Bhakti depends on your desire and sincerity. So here's a little mantra. I'm good enough for Guru and Krishna when I try to sincerely practice Krishna consciousness. Let's say it together. I am good enough for Guru and Krishna. Try to sincerely Okay. So I'm trying to make the point, if you say I'm not good enough, you probably mean, or partially mean, I'm not good enough for myself. I'm not acceptable to the standards I have for myself. And because I'm not acceptable to myself, I think I'm not acceptable to Krishna. But what is Krishna looking for? So you like we were saying before, you try and you fall, you try and you fall, but you try again. You know what Krishna sees when you try and you fall and you try and you fall? You know what he sees? He sees that you're trying. That's what he sees. And what do you see? You see that you're falling. Right? Isn't it? And Krishna may have a different standard of perfection than we have. Because for Krishna, perfection is your trying. For us, we have some material idea of perfection. I didn't do it perfectly, so maybe it's of no value. No, but you perfectly tried, and that's of value to Krishna. Now, there's a lecture Prabhupada gave, and he was explaining to the devotees the mood that we should be in when we offer prasadam. And he said, devotees should think that whatever I'm offering to Krishna has no value. And you might say, well, if it has no value, why am I offering it? And Prabhupada's saying, meaning, it has no value to Krishna because he created it. So you're offering one banana, one apple, one strawberry, and some yogurt. And Krishna has unlimited bananas, strawberries, and yogurt eternally. So in relation to what Krishna has, what's the value of your one banana, one cup of yogurt and strawberry? It's nothing, right? Then Prabhupada went on further to say something even more interesting. And then he said, the devotee should think, Krishna, what is the value of what I'm offering you? And what is my own value to you? I'm just one small living entity. What can I bring to you? So what I'm offering to you is no value. I'm just one entity. What value do I have? You know, in today's market, I'm worth, you know, what? You know, few rupees, 108 rupees in today's market. You know, the body chemicals, something like that. And then Prabhupada said, but the mood of the devotee is, but Krishna, I brought this for you. You please accept it. That's the mood. So, if you're evaluating yourself on a certain standard of perfection that you think you need to be for Krishna, he's not even looking at that. To him, it doesn't mean anything. He's just looking at, are you sincere? That's all. That's really good news, don't you think? I can please Krishna by being sincere. That's good news. And the reason it's good news is because anybody can do it. Whatever your qualification is or lack of, whatever your education is or lack of, whatever anything you have is or isn't, you can all have sincerity. Just the desire. Sincerity means a desire to please Krishna. That's all you need. Wow, that's that good news? Turn to the devotee next to you and say, Prabhu, that's good news. You can please Krishna with your sincerity. Wow. And then all you false humility devotees will say, Prabhu, I don't have any sincerity. Right? You're all thinking that, right? That's the PC, politically correct thing to say, right? I don't have any sincerity. Yeah. So, I say you do, or I say potentially you do. And why do I say that? Because sincerity, all sincerity means is, I'm not coming to cheat Krishna. I'm not coming to take advantage of Krishna. I'm just coming to serve him. For what reason? For his pleasure. That's sincerity. Krishna, I want you to be happy. Guru Maharaj, I want you to be happy. That's a definition of sincerity. I'm not coming to you like that joke. The man comes to the temple and says, I'm betting on the horses today, 1 lakh rupees, and I'll split the profit with you. You know that joke? I'll split the profit with you. And then he bets on the horse, and he only wins 50,000 rupees, not 1 lakh. So he comes back to the temple and he tells the deity, well, it looks like you took your half already, so I'll keep in my half. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. The sincerity means I'm coming, Krishna, to you to serve you without anything for myself. Oh, I want to do this service, because if I do this service, all the devotees will think I'm great. Prabhu, can I do this service? Can I do the main artik at midnight on Janmashtami? And then, I'm going to go save my money and buy the coolest dhoti and chadar. And I'm going to get a few tattoos and earrings, and I'm going to be the life of the party. That's not sincerity, right? Sincerity is, I want to do this, Krishna, to please you. And anybody can do that. Okay, listen to this, listen to this. This is beautiful. In spiritual life, sincerity is the first qualification. That's in an initiation lecture, 1971. And this is from a letter, 1967. It is not academic qualification or financial strength which helps in the matter, but it is sincerity of purpose which helps us always. And I read that again, and I want to talk about this. It is not academic qualification or financial strength which helps in the matter, but it is sincerity of purpose which helps us always. So, Prabhupada is saying in these 2 letters, sincerity is really foundational. Now, I've noticed in India, if you print up a business card, you try to find as many titles as you can possibly make up, and you put it on the business card. Is that true? I graduated from this kindergarten, I've got a degree in nursery school, kindergarten, and graduate, I was the #1 cricket player in high school. It's like you just put all this to impress people, right? Isn't it? Yes? Relevant to what? To your job. Yeah. It's like in America, the poor people who want to look rich, they save all their money for 10 years and then they buy a big gold chain with a big cross. No wealthy person, and no actually wealthy person would ever do that. Right? They just, just wear t-shirt and jeans and no jewelry. And then drive away in their Ferrari or something. But the reason that I think devotees have difficulty with this is because we're raised in a society that is judging us by what we do, not by who we are. Isn't it? What degree do you have? What university did you graduate from? What car do you drive? Where do you live? And the main thing is, when you meet somebody, what do you say? Oh, nice to meet you. What do you do? Oh, I'm a street sweeper. All right, that's it. It's over. I don't want to talk to you. Right? You know, oh, I'm the CEO of Google in Bangalore. Oh. Mm. Isn't it like that? Like so being raised in a culture like that, it's very easy to think that Krishna sees us in the same way. So we may look at material qualification as what Krishna's looking at. So this quote is beautiful because he's not looking at that. What does he care? Like, Krishna's impressed that you're the CEO of Google. That's like impresses him. You come to the temple and he's on the altar and goes, oh my God, the CEO of Google has come to the temple. I'm so impressed. I don't think so. What do you think? Right? Or, some wealthy man. Oh, this wealthy man has come to the temple. He has so much money. Yeah. I read that in Vaikuntha, every person in Vaikuntha has more wealth than all the wealth in this world. Each person has that much. So, Lakshmi Sahasrasya Shambhama Sevimanam. It's like, who's going to impress Krishna with their wealth? Or, you're so intelligent. So, people in this world are impressed by these things, but don't think Krishna's impressed by these things, and don't think you're disqualified because you don't have material qualification. Krishna's impressed by your sincerity. So here's the story. You know the story, right? The squirrel wanted to help Lord Ram. Let's read it. The squirrel wanted to help Lord Ram build a bridge to Sri Lanka, but all the squirrel could do was throw a little sand in the ocean. Since he sincerely tried to serve according to his capacity, Lord Ram has said his service was as good as the monkey's service. You may feel like a squirrel, but your sincerity is what pleases Krishna. You know what Lord Ram said? He said, he's doing as much as you're doing, because he didn't see it from an external platform. He saw it from the platform of effort, right? Because Krishna, this is so important, Krishna wants love. He doesn't want you to impress him with your material abilities. That's not what he wants. It's just like if you have a friend and your friend comes over and says, hey, watch me do this, and he does a flip. It's like, is that what you want? He does a flip, and like, okay, that's great. Let's go, let's go out and do something. No, watch this. I'm going to do a double flip. And it's got nothing to do with the relationship. And in fact, after a while, you're like, this is, I don't like this. I don't need a friend who's trying to impress me. So Krishna's the same way. You don't have to impress him with your material ability. If you can engage your material ability, yeah, of course. But it's a relationship. And we lack in so many ways, don't we? We come in lacking in many ways. But the one thing we have is sincerity. And that's beautiful because it's the most fundamental thing for pleasing Krishna. So, the squirrel is doing as much service as you. Wow, all he's doing is putting in sand. And he's doing as much, doesn't look like he's doing as much service. Looks like he's doing nothing, isn't it? What is a few grains of sand going to do? But in the mind of Ramchandra, he's doing the same. Now, one time, to humble the devotees, Prabhupada said, sometimes you offer a flower to Krishna and you put it on his lotus feet on the altar. And there's an ant on the flower. And the ant crawls off the flower and crawls on Krishna's feet. And I guess some of the devotees were becoming a little proud of their service on the altar. And Prabhupada said, and the ant is kissing Krishna's feet. He is as good as the pujari. Krishna accepts him as good as the pujari. Wow. Hare Krishna. So what does Krishna want from you? If you can give him something that he doesn't need, it's for your benefit, because he doesn't need anything. Like you're building this temple. This is such a blessing that Krishna engages us in service, that we can do this service. It's his mercy that we can build this for him. Yes? Otherwise, he doesn't need it. But we need it, and he lets us do the service. And all we have to do is do it to try to please him. That's it. Simple, isn't it? Okay. This slide is entitled, Sincerity is Your Armor. Your sincerity is your protection against the illusory energy. Sincerity is invincible. So let's read this. My sincerity is my armor against Maya. Everyone? My sincerity is my armor against Maya. So this statement, sincerity is invincible, it was made by one of Prabhupada's godbrothers. I heard it many years ago, and it just like hit me very deeply. I said, wow, sincerity is invincible. What does he mean? It means that Maya cannot defeat a devotee who is sincere. Sincerity is a weapon which protects you against Maya. Isn't that beautiful? And all we need is to be sincere. Krishna, I want to please you. I didn't join ISKCON to become the biggest devotee in the world. I didn't join ISKCON to become glorified, to get ahead, upward mobility, to make money, to impress the opposite sex, any of those things. I just came to Krishna to serve you. And if you came for any other reason, then you should readjust your course, because the only reason to come to this movement is to please Krishna. And that's sincerity. And that sincerity will keep you here. So, here's a little mantra. It's so beautiful. Your sincerity is what brought you to Krishna, and your sincerity is what will keep you. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, can you think of what was going on in your mind, and especially in your heart, when you first came to Krishna consciousness? Can you remember what you were thinking, what you were feeling? Wasn't it something like, I want to know God, and life is hard? Something similar like that? I want to know who I am. I want to know who is God. I want to connect with God. Or I need to. I'm desperate. Something. There was some, didn't you have some sincerity to know who is God, who am I? Yes? Or you just came for the pakoras? Prabhu, a little of both, I think. Pakoras were good, yeah. So that sincerity, something was there that brought you to Krishna, right? And that's the thing that's going to keep you going your whole life. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, that's the next slide. So this is our affirmation. We can say together, it is my sincerity that brought me to Krishna consciousness, and it is my sincerity that will keep me in Krishna consciousness. Okay. I'm just going to explain these slides. It'll be faster. Anyway, you're looking at it, so I can't explain it, because you'll read it while I'm talking. Okay, so I'll read it. We tend to focus on our faults, which is why we may have difficulty understanding why Krishna would love us. He only sees the good in us and never forgets our service. In fact, Krishna cannot not love us. So it's an important point. Why would Krishna love me? Because he doesn't know how not to love you. You're his devotee. You're trying to serve him. He doesn't know how not to love that person who's trying to be his devotee. So this should solve your whole dilemma or questioning whether Krishna loves you or not. You are trying to serve him, and there's nothing in him to not love you. It's like impossible for him to not love you. So if you have a doubt, Krishna, why would Krishna love me? The answer is because he doesn't know how not to. And he has no reason not to. When Prabhupada accepted a fallen sannyasi back, the sannyasi was expecting to be rejected, Like Krishna, Prabhupada told him, I can never forget your service. So here's a little mantra. I see the bad in myself, but Krishna sees the good in me. I see the bad in myself. Krishna sees. Now, this may be hard to accept, but Krishna actually wants you to go back to Godhead. Like Krishna is missing you. Wow. Wow. Okay, so now we're going to convince you with things Prabhupada said. Krishna comes and he wanted to reestablish that reciprocal exchange of love, which is called bhakti. You love Krishna and Krishna loves you. Krishna loves you even without your love. Otherwise, how are you eating? If Krishna didn't love us, we'd all be starving right now. You cannot live even for a moment without Krishna's mercy. That's a fact. So let's chant a little mantra on the bottom together. Krishna loves me even without love. So that answers another doubt. Why would Krishna love me? I don't love him. He doesn't need your love for him to love you, because he just loves you. This is a picture of Gop Kumar when he went back to the spiritual world. Similarly, Krishna comes with a purpose. He comes here to reclaim these fallen souls. We are part and parcel. Krishna loves us more than we love him. We do not love him, but Krishna loves. Krishna loves every living being. He says, Sarva yonishu konte asambhavanti murtayo yaha. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and I am the seed-giving Father. So, let's chant this mantra together. Krishna loves. So if you say, I don't think Krishna loves me, then you have to say, Krishna loves every living being except me. Because that's what it means. And why does Krishna love you? Because he's your father, that's why. So Prabhupada's saying, Krishna loves you even if you don't love him. Parents love their children, no matter what the children do. Their love is always there because they're children. So, to think that Krishna doesn't love you has no basis in anything Krishna has ever said, has no basis in Krishna's heart. It only has a basis in some misunderstanding we have, or some extremely low self-esteem that we think we're not worthy in God's eyes. But it doesn't matter if we're worthy, because he loves us anyway. He comes, he loves us. Why not? We are his sons. Why he will not love us? He is supplying all necessities. He wants to see that we are properly trained up in religious principles. So Krishna loves everyone unlimitedly. Wow. Krishna loves everyone because everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. I want you to preach that God loves you, and I want you to show by your acts that God loves them. So Prabhupada's saying, isn't this beautiful? Prabhupada's saying, preaching means to teach people that God loves them through how we deal with the people, through our actions, show God's love through our actions. This is what Prabhupada wants us to teach people, that God loves them. How can you teach them that God loves them if you don't even believe he loves you? Right? The direct process is sarva guyatamam bhuya shinume paramam bacha ishto si. I am disclosing this most confidential part of my instruction unto you. Ishto si, because I love you. Ishto si me didham iti. Because I am confident that you are my confidential friend. Dridham iti tato vakshami tehitam. Therefore, I am disclosing this to you. Why did I put this here? Someone may ask the question, Where does Krishna say, I love you? Because everything we read so far is Prabhupada saying it. So where did Krishna say it? So, this verse in Bhagavad Gita, if you read Prabhupada's translation, he's saying, Krishna is telling Arjuna that I'm speaking this most confidential knowledge unto you because you're my dear friend, or you're Priya, you're very dear to me. But here in this lecture, Prabhupada is lecturing on this verse, in which he translated in the Gita, because you're dear to me. Here he's saying, because you love me. Because I love you. I'm preaching this message to you because I love you. It's right there. Prabhupada said it, that Krishna is saying, I love you. Wow. Now, my dear devotees, close your eyes for a minute and just meditate on this amazing reality and let it sink in that Krishna actually loves you. No matter how much your mind and heart are fighting off this idea, saying it's impossible, I don't believe it, I don't deserve it, I'm not worthy, just let that go and now embrace Krishna's love, feel that love, accept that Krishna loves you, and just bathe in that amazing feeling. Isn't that amazing? To be loved unconditionally? You can all say, wow, that's amazing. The most beautiful, attractive, intelligent, famous, wealthiest, and renounced person in all of creation loves you. Is that amazing? Yes. Turn to the devotee next to you and tell them Krishna loves you. Say it like you mean it. Okay, we're not done yet. Turn to the devotee next to you and tell them Krishna loves me. If Krishna doesn't love us, why did he speak Bhagavad Gita? You know why Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita? Because he wants us to go back to the spiritual world. He wants us to leave this world and he wants us to come back and enjoy with him. That's why he spoke the Bhagavad Gita. It wasn't to establish some dharmic principles. It was to get us out of here. And that's why he said, Sarva Dharmam Prityaja. Forget all the dharma. Just become my devotee. And just... So, now I want to make you feel bad. Have your permission? Somebody loves you unconditionally, and you don't love them back. Is that bad? Is that being ungrateful? It's actually kind of being obnoxious, isn't it? Isn't it? Like sometimes you'll see a movie, or maybe in real life, where a man is like madly in love with a woman, or a woman's madly in love with a man. But the person who they're in love with, just like, they don't care. It's just like, no, nothing, right? And all the friends are like, you're crazy. Nobody's going to love you like this person. What's wrong with you? And they all think there's like something wrong with you, isn't it? Like, how could you turn your back? They'll do anything for you. You'll never meet somebody like it. No chemistry. I just don't feel the spark. And everybody's thinking, you are completely crazy. right? Okay. So Prabhu, how you doing in your Krishna consciousness? I don't really feel the spark. It's very similar. Krishna's offering everything to you, and you're like, I don't know. That's bad, isn't it? All Krishna's asking is for your love, and we're thinking, I'll think about it, I don't know. That's a lot. Krishna, that's a lot to ask, you know. You want me to like give up everything and love you, that's a lot to ask. And Krishna says, well, just so you know, if you don't love me, you're going to give up everything for somebody else. So, your choice. Who you want to give it up for, right? But if I become a devotee, I have to give up so much. Well, you're going to give it up anyway. So, you know, might as well give it up to the right person. Okay. I'm going to do this exercise later. So here is some ways Krishna shows his love to us. He guides us from within. He gives us association. He sent Prabhupada. He gave us Prabhupada books. He gives us a guru. He gives us service, the holy name. He sends people to help us. He comes as the deity. Krishna arranged that we met the devotees. He puts us in situations to help us, gives us abilities and intelligence, sees only our good qualities, only acts for our welfare, gives us freedom to choose him, gives us a chance to go back to Godhead. And there are many more, but I couldn't fit them all in the slide. But, you know, so if anyone says Krishna doesn't love me, just read this list. Because how can you prove he doesn't love you? The only way you could prove he doesn't love you is if he doesn't give you anything. Krishna decides, I don't love anybody anymore, so tomorrow, no sun, no air, no nothing, because I decided I don't love you. You know, the material world's a prison, but it's kind of nice prison, you know, a lot of facility, you know, not so bad, right? So we're children, and so Krishna's like, okay, you want a playground? Here's your playground, you know, I'll make it nice. So many nice things. Listen to this quote. Krishna is always guiding us as super soul, but due to our forgetfulness, we do not understand that Krishna is our everlasting friend. So we have a little mantra. Krishna is my everlasting friend because he's always guiding me. You can say it together. Krishna is my everlasting friend because he's always guiding me. Okay, we've discussed what's on this slide. Considering how much Krishna loves us, we have no right to refuse his love. Considering how much Krishna loves us, we have no right to not love ourselves. Refusing his love is like refusing to accept a precious gift from a lover. Don't be afraid to open your heart fully to Krishna's love. It is going to be difficult to love yourself if you can't feel his own love. So now, is anyone not convinced that, if you're not convinced that Krishna loves you, raise your hand. Okay, what do we have to do to convince you? What's your doubt? I mean, if you accept he loves you, then you have to surrender? Something like that, or what?
No, it's just that I don't feel it at all.
Oh yeah, all right. But intellectually you accept it.
No, in the slide where you showed that Krishna loves us because he loves Arjuna. He loves Arjuna more, that's a specific thing. He's loving Arjuna there. Of course you might say Arjuna is representing us. But if you take it like that, then he spent more time with Arjuna than he did with any of the other Pandavas per se, even in Vishnu. So how do I come to a picture?
Because Prabhupada said, like you said, he said when Krishna's speaking to Arjuna, he's speaking to us. I mean, obviously Krishna didn't come just to speak to Arjuna. That was just a, stand-in for us. So when he says, I love you, Arjuna, it means I love I mean, why did Krishna speak Bhagavad Gita? To get us back to him, right? That's why he spoke it, right? I mean, is that the object? That's the goal, go back to Godhead. So that means Krishna wants you to go back to Godhead, right? That means he wants a relationship with you. Now, are you reluctant to feel it, or it doesn't make intellectual sense so you can't feel it, or what's blocking it?
No, it makes intellectual sense, but that's all. It doesn't, I can't feel love. I can't.
But something's blocking that. Something must be blocking that. I don't know what it is. You have to think about it. I can tell you what I feel right now. I don't know if it's correct, but I feel like it might be making intellectual sense to some degree, but not enough to get in your heart. It's like something's there that's like some doubt somewhere. It could be I don't deserve the love. Who knows? Oh, okay, it's not that. Then what do you think it is?
Left to myself, I want to be there right now.
Oh, because you're still here, you mean it doesn't seem like he loves you because you would be there by now, or you tried so much to be Krishna conscious? And no, but we don't. So one devotee wrote Prabhupada a letter and he said, why doesn't Krishna give love right away? It makes it so hard. And Prabhupada said, because you couldn't handle it. So Krishna comes to your house tonight, gives you love, and you come to the temple tomorrow and go, hey everyone, I have love. Put me on the seat, I'm giving class. It's like we can't handle it. We'll think we're the number one devotee, right? It's like, you could say the same thing, why does a kid have to grow up? It takes 16 years. Why couldn't they just go from 0 to 16? It'd be so much easier. And my sister majored in childhood education, and they said, there are systems in which you can teach kids to read at a very early age, before school. And she said they kind of grow up to adulthood in 5 to 6 years. And she said it really messes them up, because they need to grow slowly. So I think it's like that. You need to earn your right to go back to Godhead. If it's given too easy, then it's not going to work. Yes?
Why is that the case if the only thing that I ever possess is my love for Sri Krishna? That is the only thing in existence that is there, dominant. Prabhupada says it's not an artificial position.
Yeah, okay, why is it? Yeah. There's only one reason. You know that prayer by Prabhupada, he said something like, free me from my causeless unwillingness to serve you. It's like this, just causeless meaning, from time immemorial conditioning. That causeless means it doesn't make any sense. Like, this conditioning is so deep. I've been a devotee since I was 19. So it's really, maybe the last 10 years has given me a lot of perspective on what conditioning is, because I would think by this time it would all be gone. And a lot of it is, but a lot of it isn't. And I'm sometimes shocked, like, wow, this is really deep. And oftentimes you purify yourself, but you find that there was another layer underneath that I didn't know was there. And I've had a lot of realization about controller, enjoyer, because, we say Krishna is the controller and enjoyer, and we have that same mentality. But as I've gone on in devotional service, I've realized that behind every speck of material consciousness is the desire to enjoy and control, like Krishna. And it just maybe gets more subtle, but it's so deeply ingrained in us from unlimited lifetimes of trying to imitate him that he really wants us to earn the right. Because if we don't, and a few of the wrong people go back to Godhead, they're going to ruin the party. So it's like, they have bouncers, there has to be bouncers. Otherwise, you want to go back to Godhead and you find out some devotee you don't like is still contaminated and he's up there. And then you're like, I don't know if I want to stay here if you're here. And I was once talking to one of my godbrothers about the struggle that sometimes we go through. And he was saying that you actually need it, because it's in that struggle that we pray, isn't it? And obviously Krishna knows what we need and how to get it out of us. And one thought I have, not just a thought but an experience, is if I face a difficulty, I feel like it's such a beautiful opportunity to show Krishna I'm more interested in him than that difficulty. So I say, thank you, Krishna, for putting that temptation in front of me, because you allowed me to show you that you're more important to me than that. And my meditation on Krishna's love and feeling it really came from reading Bhagavad Gita, because the more I read it, the more I saw that really all Krishna, behind every verse of the Gita, there's this little Krishna saying, I love you. Will you reciprocate with this love? This is all I want is your love. So behind every verse, that's like the ultimate culmination. Sarvadharma Purityajya is just, I love you, will you love me? Like, forget all this religious stuff. I don't care about that. I just want your love. And I want you to know I love you. So every verse, that's what every verse of the Gita means it's Krishna's motivation behind every verse. And so if you read the Gita that way, then you start to feel Krishna's love behind each verse. And there's another interesting thing, that this could help you also, help all of us, that you can read something to understand it in your head, and you can read something to feel it in your heart. So now when you read the Bhagavad Gita, you could do an experiment and say, well, this time or today, the next time I read Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to read it to feel what the feeling is behind Krishna's words. So it's going to bypass my intellect, and it's going to go to my heart, and it's like, what is the feeling? And I often just naturally feel Prabhupada's words because I saw him speak. And so I know what he feels because I was there. And so when Prabhupada's saying, be Krishna conscious, in this life, etc., I can feel Prabhupada's desire for us. He's like, come on, do this. This is good for you. And so if you allow yourself to feel, sometimes when you study, you'll experience and understand it differently. It's nobody really talks about this, but I've had amazing experiences reading Prabhupada's books when I didn't try to understand, but I just tried to feel. And then by trying to feel, I understood things that I never understood because they had to be felt to be understood. The other day I was saying that when Durvasa came back to apologize to Ambarish was like, no problem, your breakfast is ready. Right? So I was reading that from the feeling perspective. And, I'd read it before many times. And then it just hit me. It said, he's serving breakfast to a person who just tried to kill him. That is like inconceivable. But otherwise I'd read right over it, because if I wasn't feeling it, it'd be like, oh, because your head doesn't feel it. Your head understands. Oh, he's a Vaishnava. He's forgiving. And you just you miss this whole like, wow, who could serve breakfast to a person who tried to kill them? That's like, forget it. That just doesn't happen. So there's another level you can get through feeling. And if you read Bhagavad Gita, just understanding that Krishna's desire in speaking it is like, come, let's go. Would you just give me your love? I have everything, but I don't have your love, and I want it. Krishna owns everything. Wait a minute. He doesn't own your love because you didn't give it to him. He let you, okay, he owns your body, he owns everything, but you didn't give your heart. He doesn't have that. And that's what he wants. What do you say? We have this saying at Christmas time, what do you give the man who has everything? Like, say, what do you give the God who has everything? You give him your heart, because he doesn't have that. Right? Is that okay? Yeah. We're going to do another exercise at the end, which will hopefully help you in the feeling of Krishna's love. It's a whole exercise to feel his love. And we've done it many times. It's kind of the actually highlight of this whole workshop. And after we do it, everyone says, could I get a copy of that? And you will be happy to know after we do, it's a guided meditation that I've recorded it, so you can get it online. Or you can get it on one of my USB. Okay. So here's our affirmation. Krishna loves me despite my faults and sins, and even without my love. I open my heart to receive and accept his love, and I give myself the same love and affection that he gives me. I'm going to say this together. Krishna loves me despite my faults and sins, and even without my love. I open my heart to accept, and I... Beautiful. You want to take a break now, or you want to go on, go further? Raise your hand if you want to go on. There's one more. I just want to make sure you're like all awake and fresh, because this next section is. Okay, this is about self-love, self-compassion. Self-acceptance, self-love, and self-compassion. So on our book, on our self-care affirmations, the subtitle is something like something about self-acceptance, self-love, and compassion. Anyone? On the front of the book, what does it say? Subtitle? Can you tell me what it says? Deepening your self-love, self-compassion, self-acceptance. So I was reluctant to put that on the cover because I knew some people are going to read that and say, Prabhupada never taught that. Then I thought, controversy is good, so we'll keep it. But anyway, we'll help you understand why this is important. And we've discussed it before. Before lunch, we discussed this a little bit. We'll discuss it more. Self-acceptance is the refusal to be in an adversarial relationship with yourself. Lord Chaitanya accepts and loves us despite our faults. So we should not offer that same. So should we not offer that same acceptance and love to ourselves? So this is a continuation of what we've been talking about. Let's say this together. I offer myself the same love and acceptance as the Lord gives me. Let's do it again. I offer myself. So if you can feel Krishna's love, then it's easier to love yourself, because all you have to do is just give yourself what he just gave you. It's common to think that self-acceptance would cause us to become apathetic. Self-acceptance doesn't imply being lax or not trying to improve. Self-acceptance acknowledges our current limitations, challenges, and nature without self-condemnation. Thus, self-acceptance makes it easier for us to try harder because we create a positive relationship with ourselves. Being down on ourselves does not produce positive outcomes. Okay, let's say this together. I create a positive relationship with myself. That was really bad. Let's try it again. I create a positive relationship with myself. Okay, this slide is entitled, It's Okay to Be Me. Being okay with yourself means accepting that you are human. Negative self-talk causes discouragement, lack of enthusiasm, and or giving up. In this state, your service is negatively impacted. You can't give what you don't have. Being okay with yourself prevents you from descending into the I don't care mode. Okay, here's our mantra. Let's say it together. It's okay to be me. Tell the devotee next to you, it's okay to be me. Tell the devotee next to you, it's okay to be you. It's okay to be you. Okay. Okay, so here's something I realized from teaching this course. You beat yourself down and you love yourself up. So let's say that together. You beat yourself down. That's what we were talking about before. When you're hard on yourself in the wrong way, then it actually pushes you down. And when you're compassionate and accepting, it pushes you up because there's more energy and enthusiasm with self-acceptance and compassion. Yeah, we've gone through these. Talk to yourself like you would talk to someone you care for, not like you would to someone you don't like. You ever talk to yourself like someone you hate? Or someone you don't like? Yeah. Here's our affirmation. Let's say it together with enthusiasm. I treat and talk to myself in the same way I would treat and talk to someone else. So, listen to this. Prabhupada's talking about loving ourselves. I love myself because I am eternal servant of God. Therefore, if I actually love myself, I must always engage myself in the service of the Lord. Here's our affirmation. Because I love myself, I always engage in Krishna's service. So, Prabhupada is defining self-care in this conversation, isn't he? If I actually love myself, I must always engage myself in the service of the Lord. That's self-love. That's how I love myself in the highest way. Here's another letter. I am thinking sometimes to love my body, my mind, like that. But real love is because I'm spirit soul. Therefore, I love myself. And why I love myself? Because it is a part and parcel of Vishnu. Therefore, ultimately, you love Vishnu. So here's a little mantra, let's say it. Loving myself as a soul is loving Krishna. Yeah. Okay. We usually chant japa in this mood, but here's our affirmation. Japa is my highest form of spiritual self-care. As I care more about myself, I care more about my japa. And as I care more about myself, I care more about my Krishna consciousness. So let's say this together. Japa is my... As I care more about myself, I care more about my japa. And as I care more about myself, I care more about my Krishna consciousness. All right, you want to do an exercise? Here are the questions. Find a partner, you can answer these questions. Can you see the questions, ladies, in the back? See if I can make, I don't know if I can make it bigger. Huh? Better? So you just discuss go in groups of 2, find a partner and discuss this?
Prabhupada says we have not experienced true love in the material world. It doesn't exist. True love in the material world doesn't exist. Now, how do I know Krishna's love if I have not experienced it? True love I have not experienced. So how do I experience Krishna's love? Facilities Krishna has given. Okay, I accept it. Right? Where exactly?
Lord Chaitanya,
Huh?
Lord Chaitanya's mercy is not love.
Okay, I'm very grateful, but I don't. Grateful, I feel. Love, I'm not sure. Because if love is there, I will sacrifice. Grateful is there, Prabhu, thank you very much. And then I go. But if I actually feel love, I will surrender.
Maybe we never tried to feel it. Maybe we need to try to feel it more.
Because I have not experienced the material world. No, the love I have not experienced. In hundreds of lifetimes I have lived here, but I have not experienced that love. No. Prabhupada says it doesn't exist in the material world. Yes, mother's love comes somewhat close to it. But then I don't love my mother also so much.
You don't
It's all
experience.
commercial transaction in this world.
You don't experience
Karmic.
the love. You don't experience the love going to Krishna. Just because we can't experience love, our love for Krishna, because we don't have it, doesn't mean we can't experience His love for us.
But I haven't.
Open your heart to it.
And one more thing is,
We're going to do an exercise. It's gonna- it's
Madhu
gonna-
has gone through some of the important stuff. I just
no,
want to
after this,
Yeah.
we'll do an exercise that will answer your question.
Okay.
At least it'll try to.
Okay. I was going to say something.
Yeah.
Krishna says, I am boss, Bhoktaram Rajatam Sam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Don't touch anything, everything belongs to me. What? Isavashabdam Sarvam, Yatinta Jagatyan Jagat, Denata Tena Bhujita, Magrada. Don't touch, knowing who it belongs to. What? Wow, it's pretty heavy. Sarvaloka Bhujam, Yat Karoshi, Yat Apnasi, Yat Tuhoshi, Daras, Yat Tapsasi.
But you've been touching it
He's
forever.
a slave driver.
Exactly.
Krishna is a slave driver.
That love means you become a slave to the person you love. There's no way around it.
Well, he's heavy.
You become a slave to something, your senses, your mind, your coffee, your tea. You become a slave to him. It's much better.
I see you more like a salesman selling Krishna's love. What is your cutting? What do you get?
You know, Prabhupada said preaching is like Sakya Ras. You tell everybody about your friend. So I'd like, here's my friend. He wants you to know him, and I'm just selling him to you. Yeah. Exactly.
But you know, in Upanishad, the devotee prays, Kutosmara, Kutamsmara, please remember what I have done, please remember what I have done. Like, he pleads. You know, you are so great, you are Kusan, you are this, you are that. There are so many venerable.
That's the Upanishads, but for us,
But I agree with you, saying you read Gita's verses, behind that you can see Krishna's love. I agree with that.
so it's a matter of,
And Krishna
feeling it.
Krishna is so liberal, he says, Ye yatamam prapadyanti. He is so liberal. He doesn't say you love me this way. Ye yatamam prapadyanti. So Krishna has got a lot of, and he also says, what kinds of people cannot come to me. Right? He says, Namam Dudvitra Moda Prapadyanti Maya. He is very he has put all his cards on the table. All
But
cards are on the
if
table.
they change, he's ready for anybody, right?
But he also says demons cannot come to me. He also says, I throw them in the Papa Yonio. Again and again I throw them
Until
in the
they
Papa.
stop being demons. I need to sign something. Okay.
Sorry, Maharaj, I stay far, so I have to travel back. My mom will become angry if I go late.
Well, you don't want her to become angry. That's not fun.
Humbly seek your blessings.
Yes, you're blessed. This is your pen, right? Okay. You want more time? Raise your hand if you want more time to discuss. Okay. How much more? 5 minutes? Okay, we'll give you 5 minutes. And if you're finished, discuss it more anyway, okay? Because the more you discuss, the more you discover. All right? So we'll give you 5 more minutes. Oh. Oh. One more minute. Shanti. 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 Well, you all look very excited. So I'm excited to hear what you discovered. Would some of you like to share what you've discovered? Yes. We have a microphone? Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I just want to add something on the first question which we were discussing about.
Okay.
Like in what ways such as lack of self-acceptance and compassion and self or negatively impact your life. So we were having a discussion that suppose right now when we take as a self, are we really thinking ourselves as a sole platform? We are not on that platform. How to prove that? Small disturbances where others insult or when there is no personal. These things are the platform where like, if it's not there we get disturbed. That's not on the soul platform. So we are now in the bodily or the maximum the mental platform or in the ego platform also. So we are not seeing ourselves as a soul right now. We know information we have.
Yes.
But realization, we are not pure devotees yet. So we don't have that realization that we have self as soul. So when we do self-acceptance now, we accept ourselves as a mind or as body.
The conditioning
The conditioning as a self, we accept. And we try to pacify that and try to improve that. Oh, I need nice facilities. I need nice surrounding where devotees always keep appreciating, not insult me. This everything becomes self into.
No, not like that. Not. It just means not that I have to have things a certain way, but the way I am, that I cannot change at this very moment, that I have to accept.
Yeah, but
I have to accept my conditioning and limitation. But, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that discussion we had in the second. Yes, there are some other tasks I have to accept.
Yeah, so the problem is the first,
First one I am trying to discuss where negatively it can impact our life. So negatively.
because, for example, like we were discussing, if you become envious or you become critical or you become jealous because somebody is doing something you can't do or doing it better than you can do, that's because of a lack of self-acceptance. It's so many times when we're critical of other people, it's because of our own self-criticism, negative self-criticism. We're upset with ourselves because we want to do something and we want to control ourselves and we don't. We want to be something we can't be. And it actually causes us to criticize others. And we can become very discouraged also, or just envious. Whereas if I accept myself, this is how I am, this is what I can do, like I was giving the example, I decided I would teach. That's what I could do better. Other people, maybe they could teach better, maybe they can manage better, they can do better kirtan. But okay, I accept that this is my limitation, this is what I can do. But if I don't accept that, I'll start to become envious of those people. I'll become critical. Does that make sense?
Can I add to it?
Yeah.
But then the question comes again when I am accepting that as I have the skill, when I others has other skill. I am accepting on the platform of mind and ego only. There is no soul platform there. When it comes to soul platform, which we are not now, then accepting self becomes a big problem for us.
Well, we're talking about accepting the conditioned self that the soul is entangled with, and accepting, let me try to put it another way.
But it's the truth, it's the fact. It's the truth.
Yeah, it's the reality. It's just what it is.
Krishna loves the pure soul, or Krishna loves me with all the warts. Krishna loves me as his amsa, pure soul,
Yeah.
or with all my faults.
Yeah, that's part of it. Krishna accepts me, and The soul is pure, I'm conditioned. I have limitation, right? So this is more of a psychological reality than a philosophical one. So I think you're conflating philosophy and psychology. Right? You know, it's like you're trying to look at everything philosophically when it's actually a samskara and a psychological condition of which I'm envious of this other person because I don't like my conditioning and I'm discouraged by my own conditioning and I can't just accept this reality. Like Bhaktivinoda saying, this is just a reality of who I am and I'm not accepting it. And who I am as a conditioned being presently. I know as soul I'm not, but we're talking about the conditioning because that's the part we can't accept. We can certainly accept ourselves as a soul, but all those parts of yourself that you don't accept, all the conditioned parts, the bad karma, the limitations of your mind and intelligence that you wish you didn't have, the negative qualities you wish you didn't have, that's what we mean by self-acceptance. And in other words, sometimes there's a situation, somebody does something that's really bad and you say, I just can't accept that. And I'll say, well, it's too late, it already happened. How could you not accept it? It's past tense now, you know? So I'm just playing with words. You can't say I can't accept it because there's no way not to accept it. It's a reality, it happened. So if you say I can't accept myself, I say, but you can't not accept yourself because this is how you are. So we say I can't accept myself, that's creating negativity in our life. It's making it difficult for us. But do you have a choice? Can you really not accept yourself? I mean, it's a reality. It's just who you are. I can't accept my limitation. Well, yes.
The question is, as I am in a conditioned state, and I could be in the Sachidananda state,
Yeah.
which one Krishna loves?
Yeah. Both. He loves you, but
No, he doesn't accept me in my conditioned state.
he accepts your effort, your service, your sincerity. You know, you offer sat patra pushpam phalam toyam. I mean, so much of the Gita is all about conditioned devotees. And Krishna is saying, I accept it. You offer this, I accept it. Obviously, if you're pure, you know, that's when you enter rasa. But before that, he accepts your service.
Well, it is like the example Prabhupada gives. You are in the bathroom, you are having a bath. Neither you are dirty, nor you are clean. Right? But at least you are taking bath.
Yeah.
So if you say that is what Krishna would accept, the process and the process of it. So Krishna accepting on that point.
And you're trying.
So then it is not a matter of false identification of body, mind and something. It is the soul itself, but coming out of the contamination. The process of coming out of the contamination. You are talking about as if the conditioned position is going to remain always. But he is saying you will come out of it. You will come out of the after the path, you will come out.
It's not like you can talk about this issue separately. It's, you know, you have a body, you have a mind, you have emotions, you have karma, you have samskara. So to try to like say, well, the soul is different, that's fine, but you're within a body that has all that conditioning. So my point is that so many devotees don't like who they are. They don't like their conditioned self, understandably. But it creates a negative impact on them, and they discourage themselves. And they say things like, I hate myself, or what's the use? I have so many bad qualities. And then, like I said, then they become jealous of other devotees who are better than them, because they can't just accept the reality, this is my karma. Does that make sense? It's a practical reality that I've seen a million times, that I'm trying to respond to. If we try to get too philosophical, we might miss the point.
Another question, and the same is another question.
Yeah.
If suppose somebody is insulting me, some devotee is insulting me,
Okay.
in that environment, now should I change my place? Because I should think positively about myself and I'm getting insulted, I should change my place. Or should I think as a karma and just accept it?
No, self-acceptance is different. You're talking more about tolerance, just tolerating, but self-acceptance is, it's how you see yourself. Self-acceptance is just about your relationship with yourself and how you perceive yourself, either in positive or negative ways. So it has nothing to, it's not exactly, I mean, if I said you're stupid and you thought, yes, I'm stupid, that would be, then you're not accepting yourself as you are. You're putting yourself down. But if a person's just bothering you, it doesn't really deal with so much with self-acceptance. It deals more, like we said, it deals more with self-care. I'm just not going to let it bother me because I want to preserve my sanity and my peace of mind.
So how do I do that? Like you said, 7 and 12. 7, people tolerate, but they burst after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And 12, they don't, they tolerate only to their limit. So now a person who is at a state who wants to come out. So self-care means to change the environment or to change.
Could be, if you have to. It could be either, so he's asking, if you want to protect yourself from a situation, is it changing, you're saying, do you change internally or do you change externally? And if you can't solve it internally, then you have to change it externally. Because you're not on a level where internally you're able to deal with it. You tried, but it's not working. You're not there yet. So you have to accept that reality. So you could say that's self-acceptance. It's more of acceptance of a reality. And then you change the environment to protect yourself. But that's all you can do, you know. It's like sometimes Prabhupada would want a devotee to do something, but they couldn't do it. So he'd say, okay, then do this. So it's like, you know, so internally, I tried to let this go, but I was so offended by it, I just can't see that person. It disturbs me too much. So I have to be separate, or I can't work with them anymore. Okay, what can you do? Prabhupada did that all the time. Put two people who can get along in different places. And usually he didn't even try, or many times he didn't try for them to get along because he saw they couldn't. So these are realities you deal with as a conditioned soul. You know what you should do, but then you have to deal with what you actually can do. And so if you try to do what you can't do, then at some point it's not going to work. Right? It's like, so, you know, we always want to push, do more, try. But eventually you know what your limit is. And then you try to push that limit, you can't maintain it. So you want to maintain your devotional service that's sustainable so you can progress. You don't want to like go too high and then crash. Because usually if you try to go too high, you end up lower than where you started. And a lot more discouraged. Right? And a lot of times we're just trying to do something we could never succeed at doing because it's too high of a level. And it backfires because you feel like a failure. Whereas if you were to realize this is beyond my level and stayed lower, you would feel successful. Right? So I mean, I have that experience of like trying to go, like wanting to go, like I really wanted to go. It was like, I felt it, this is what I want to do, but I wasn't qualified. So then I felt like I failed. And so for many years I felt like, oh, I'm just a failure. Whereas if I would have known that was beyond my limit, I would have never felt like a failure because I never would have tried for it. And I would have been steady rather than So all of us have to know what are the limits of our capabilities. And if there are limits, we just have to accept it. Okay, then self-acceptance. Yes, this is all I can do. And I can't deal with this devotee. I wish I could, and I can't work with him anymore. I wish I could, but I can't. And you know, it's not ideal, but it's real. Right? Ideal and real.
Just one clarification. When Prabhupada accepted disciples from different cultures, what did he accept from them? When he gave Diksha, when Prabhupada gave Diksha, he accepted them as a disciple.
He gave them a chance to become pure devotees.
What does acceptance means there when he accepted the disciple? What did he
He accepted that I will guide you back to Godhead. I accept the responsibility of taking you back to Godhead.
No matter what, where you are, what you are.
Yeah, as long as because you are committing to follow certain practices, and you commit.
Oh, that is depends on terms and conditions.
Yeah, and I commit to you. Yeah.
The same thing with Krishna. How can he give his love without putting terms and conditions?
Yeah, just surrender.
Yeah.
That's his love.
So
Well,
therefore,
Krishna,
Krishna is only accepting me as Sachidananda form, not in the mundane world.
Krishna, let's not talk about Krishna. He's too strict. Mahaprabhu had no terms. Yes.
I want to say something about unconditional love of Lord Chaitanya. So many of the people here are mothers. So I want to ask the mothers a question. When their child poops, do they love them less? So the Krishna soul is like that. You know, is a child of God, and there are some imperfections.
Yes.
But Krishna loves them anyway. This is my take
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And regarding what Prabhu was saying, sometimes there are toxic situations and toxic people around you who are not encouraging, and that's a time to step out of that environment and get into a more encouraging environment.
Yeah.
And I say this many times, and sometimes you don't have, especially in our society, since the judgment levels are very high, you're being judged by devotees and you're judging yourself according to some high standards. So I keep telling myself this, and I went through this 25, 30-year-old journey, and I finally told myself, I have to be my best encourager. And I tell people around me that you have to be your best encourager. Somebody encourages you or not, whichever situation you're in. So I was having this discussion with Radharanjan Madhav, I think what we know. And he said, how come you're so happy all the time? So I told him, you get up in the morning and you start with saying, hey, Radharanjan Madhav, kya banda hai? So, and I also say this, that whatever you appreciate, appreciates. So some self-appreciation, which in devotee circles is a little hard to accept.
Yeah.
How can I appreciate myself? I mean, I'm self-centered, I'm egoistic, and there's so many things you immediately crop up because you condemn yourself and you're a great guy in our society. You appreciate yourself, what an arrogant, egoistic guy. That goes on. But for me it works because it encourages me. Well, I know I've got so many faults, but then when I appreciate something about myself, that encourages me to move on. Prabhu, I want to share something. There was one coach who I was hearing a lecture, and he actually described all the qualities which devotees circles love. Like he said, if you feel you're not good enough, if you feel lower than anybody else, and he goes one, two, three, and it sounds like he's describing a devotee. And I'm hearing this attentively, and oh, what's he saying? If you feel like this, oh wow, these are the feelings appreciated. And then he ended that with, if you're feeling A, B, C, D, E, which everybody here will say, wow, wow, bhai, wow, kya bande ho, kya bande ho. And he ended up with, if you're feeling all this, you are abusing yourself, it's self-abuse.
Wow.
My God, that really hit me. I said, oh my God, what are we doing? And simple test, these emotions which sometimes you mention home with the stool and all that stuff, the simple test is it empowering you to really go forward?
Yeah,
Is it making you full of joy? Are you feeling, Prabhu, I'm working stool, wow. I feel great this morning. So it's empowering us, making us more joyful, more empowered to do more service for Lord Chaitanya. Fine, keep it. If it doesn't work, please drop it.
So we can have a little joke here at this temple. When anybody says how you doing, you say, I'm feeling great, just like a worm and stool. I'm feeling as good as a worm and stool. Yahoo! What you're saying is we're conflating low self-esteem and humility when they're completely different. And so, you know, this deep humility that we see of the pure devotees, they're actually in ecstasy. It's actually a pouring forth of their ecstasy. And that's really difficult to understand. That how does ecstasy manifest in feeling low and rotten and wretched and useless? Like, could you understand that? Like, you go to the psychiatrist and he says, how are you feeling? And you say, wretched, rotten, lowly, and what else? What are some of the other ones? Wretched, rotten. I had three. I was giving a workshop. We had three. Rotten, wretched, worthless. Yeah. The three politically correct emotions for all the good brahmacharis. How you feeling, Prabhu? Wretched, rotten, and worthless. Well, rotten's not a W. Well, anyway. Wretched, rotten, and worthless. Because that's how the pure devotees feel, but that's their ecstasy. And if you feel wretched, rotten, and worthless, and you're still ecstatic, well, more power to you. But generally, you won't feel ecstatic because it's not coming from prema. Right? It's coming, what Madhusudan Hari is saying, it's coming from trying to imitate a pure devotee. And it's backfiring because we don't have that emotion, so it doesn't work for us. Madhusudan Hari, I do an exercise which, like you said, is weird for devotees to do, and I tell them, tell your partner all the things you like about yourself. And immediately they think, well, that's, it's pride. And I say, no. All those things you should like about yourself because Krishna gave them to you and you can use them in his service. So I like that I'm good at cooking, I like that I'm good at singing, I like that I'm good. Wow, thank you, Krishna. You're going to deny, you're the best kirtaniya in Bangalore. You want to deny that? No, Prabhu, I'm the worst. Actually, I can't sing. I croak like a frog. No, you don't. You sing like a Gandharva. Oh, Prabhu, you're so kind. Why not just say, thank you, Krishna? Yeah, I appreciate Krishna's mercy that I can sing it. It's like, what's wrong with that? That's real for us. The other stuff is not real. It's all imitation. And there's like no place in our consciousness for that kind of talk because it doesn't mean anything. It's just words that were just imitation. Yes?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, self-acceptance, self-compassion and self-love, will it not put oneself in a very comfortable situation and hinder his process of growth? Like in a comfort zone, when we accept?
Well, you want to do an experiment?
Yes.
For 1 week, do no self-acceptance, no self-compassion, and no self-love. And see how that works for you. And then the next week, do it and see how that works for you. We're not talking about sense gratification, self-acceptance. How about this one? I don't accept myself. So that's very negative, right? I don't accept myself. So I don't love myself and I have no compassion. I just beat myself all the time. You think that's going to help you? No. So is your goal to be a pure devotee? Yes. So self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-love will help you be a pure devotee because that's your goal. If your goal is sense gratification, it'll help you get more sense gratification. So self-love, it's independent of what your goal is. So long as your goal is Krishna, it's going to help you get there. Because you're not going to go, I'm so bad, I'm so worthless, You're just going to be, okay, I'm a work in progress, things are going on, gradually I'll improve, I'll be tolerant, and I am trying, and I'm trying to be sincere, pat myself on the back. That's what it's going to do. So it'll be positive. Why don't we try this? 108 times when you get up in the morning, say, I'm wretched, rotten, and worthless. I'm wretched, rotten, see how that works for you. How about, and then the next week, despite the fact that I'm wretched, rotten, and worthless, I accept myself, I'm kind to myself, and I will do things which will help nurture my bhakti. Which one do you think is going to help you? Yeah. It's obvious. Now, when you're a pure devotee and you say, I'm wretched, rotten, and worthless, that's coming out of ecstasy, and that's going to help you. But it's going to have a different meaning. Yes?
So now, when we think, there's a low self-esteem where I'm thinking less of me. But if I go before the deity, before the holy name, and we present our low situation, and then beg for Lord's mercy, so is it not a positive form that I have this
Yeah, that's positive. Very positive. And that's realistic for us.
Sometimes when we speak before devotees, then we are in a mood that devotees will think good of us. But it does not happen. And they may say some critical word and we get offended. But when we say in front of deities, we don't have expectation that Lord will feel good about us. We have expectation that Lord will accept me and Lord will show me mercy.
Yeah.
So if we want to doing it in front of the deities is maybe a more realistic situation than talking in the public.
Yeah, could be. You can talk to the deities. Tell him anything you want. You can say, thank you for giving me this quality. You could say that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I just wanted to ask, like sometimes somebody gives us a positive criticism, which is beneficial for us. But we might take it as self-acceptance and that no, what he's saying is not right. I know what I am. So maybe because of that laziness or because of that ego, we might not want to improve ourselves. So how can we judge whether that the other person who's telling me is something positive or negative?
If you have a big ego, you won't be able to judge. That's for sure. Sometimes you just know. And sometimes you will reject anything anybody tells you. Some of us will just not accept anybody. Some of us are humble enough at least to consider it. Let me think about it. So someone tells you something, you should at least be humble enough and say, thank you, let me think about it. Or if it doesn't make sense, you'd say, I don't understand it. I don't feel like I'm like that, but I'm going to think about it. And so you think about it. That's humility. To be able to accept it, even if you don't accept it, but just accept it and think about it. Self-acceptance is just if I see that this person is right, then I just acknowledge that it's a fault I have, and I have to work on it without, condemning myself. That's what self-acceptance is. And in the ideal state, we would want everyone to give us input, and we would be open to consider everyone's input. That's when the false ego is at a low, and our desire to improve is at a high. We just tell me, I want to know. Because I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, and I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm just trying to get closer to Krishna. So anything that anybody can tell me, I'm willing to listen, consider. And then after listening and considering, maybe you'll realize that they were right, or maybe you'll realize that was a misperception. But as long as your false ego is not in the way, then you're in the best position to understand, because you have nothing to protect. But if your false ego is in the way, you want to protect your false ego, then how are you going to be able to evaluate it objectively? Right? Because you're more concerned with image. So if you're concerned with advancement and not image, you'll be able to know, because you'll be in the most objective state. But if you're concerned with image or not concerned with advancement, then if that doesn't fit your ego, you'll reject it. Right? Here's another interesting thing. Is everyone still awake? Raise your hand if you're awake. Make noise if you're awake. Here's a problem. To answer your question another way, this is really interesting. We all have a certain concept of who we are, what kind of personality we are. I'm a kind person, I'm a generous person, I'm an intelligent person, I'm a humble person, I'm a service-oriented person. We all have this identity, and it could be all those things, or more than those things. So, if you have the identity that you're a kind, gentle, soft-hearted person, and I come up to you and say, you know, I saw you talking to that devotee, and that was very rude, unkind, and harsh. It's going to be impossible for you to accept that because it totally goes against the way you see yourself. And so that's why sometimes we reject people when they're telling us what we're like, because it conflicts with what we think we're like. Now, that makes sense, right? Now, the interesting thing is, our conception of ourselves is not necessarily based on anything we're doing. It's not necessarily that I am kind to everyone and generous, etc. It's just that's the way we want to be, and that's the way we want to think of ourselves, and that's the way we want other people to think of us, so we think we're that way. And oftentimes our actions and our self-conception are actually not the same. Isn't that interesting? So an introspective person who really wants to crush the false ego will not hang on to any kind of identity. And if someone says, you're harsh, they'll look at it. They'll go, okay, really, what did I do? And they'll be open to correct themselves. They'll be open to see it and correct themselves because advancing is much more important than maintaining a false ego. So when you want to maintain image, and you can't break the conception you have of yourself, then you can't hear. Because hearing's not important to you. Image is important. Does that make sense? And so, the problem is that, okay, in the secular world, we're like, okay, that's normal, right? The CEO has an image, the managers have image, everybody wants upward mobility. But in a devotional society, strictly speaking, there's no room for that. That's totally out of place. And so we are ideally supposed to be in a position in which we are willing to see anything about ourselves if we can improve. And we're willing to take any kind of feedback if it's going to help us. Because we have nothing to protect. All we want is to come closer to Krishna. We don't need to protect any false ego. And if we're trying to protect false ego, well, that's more important than your relationship with Krishna. So, too bad for you. And that's not self-care at all. That's destruction. That's self-destruction. So if I actually care about myself, I would be open to feedback. And then, because I'm not trying to maintain any kind of image, then I could tell if it was actually good advice or not. Maybe it's just their advice, their perception, maybe they're envious of me or they want to hurt me, whatever. But at least I'd be open to listen to it and consider it. So, my dear devotees, did you join ISKCON to inflate your false ego? Or did you join ISKCON to deflate it? I don't believe you. I don't believe all of you. Okay, another question. You joined ISKCON to deflate your ego. At any point in your journey in ISKCON, did you ever see opportunities to inflate it and take advantage of it? Yes or yes? That's the material conditioning side of ourselves. We have to realize that the desire to be appreciated is our conditioned desire. Well, maybe not appreciated. The desire to be recognized, acknowledged, the desire to be honored is deeply, deeply, deeply rooted. And that's why when I was doing a little joke the other day. I'll do it for you guys. So I'm chanting Hare Krishna, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now, imagine I'm chanting and I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. Hare Krishna, I'm so great, best chanter in the temple, Hare Krishna. Nobody chants as good as I do, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I hope everyone's noticing my chanting, how good it is, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Everyone should chant like me, Hare Krishna, Hare. These devotees, they don't know how to chant, Hare Ram, Ram. They're making aparad. My chanting is pure, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, do you notice me? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Yeah? Could that happen? Yeah. So I'm in the Hare Krishna movement, and what's my goal now? To be recognized. I'm chanting Krishna's holy name, and I'm thinking I should be recognized for that. And you ask the question, how are we so stupid to come to the material world? How could Maya enter? Well, you're chanting japa and you're in complete Maya. And you're using the holy name to empower your pride. Hare Krishna. Wow. Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. It's 4:15 and we're supposed to end at 4:30. Oh my God. Okay. We have 2 more things we want to do. It's probably going to take about 20 minutes, so can you stay 5 minutes longer? These are, the next 2 things we're going to do are really powerful. So we have to share both of them. Yes? No time for questions. Sorry, Prashna Devi. I have to continue. I gave Sita Lange a new name. Maharaj, but I have one question. Devi Dasi. But now I can't answer it because we have to do this. 2 more things we have to do. We're going through level 2 here also. So there's a lot here. And this is all going to be online. Okay, here it is. Okay, I need your attention. This part is so beautiful. So this is entitled Self-Love and Compassion Strengthen Your Resolve. So maybe this will answer some of your confusion. You're like trying to analyze things philosophically. Maybe this will make more sense to you. This is entitled I'm Worth It. When confronted with temptation, remember that you are worth making the effort to overcome your challenges. If your compassion doesn't include yourself, it's incomplete. So here's a little mantra, let's say it together. I am worth making the effort to become Krishna conscious. You have to feel like this, because if you don't, when you're confronted with temptation, you may just give into it. But if you think, I am worth it, I'm not going to give into it. I am worth resisting this temptation. I am worth doing the right thing. I am worth rejecting the wrong thing. If you don't think you're worth it, you often don't have the strength because you'll say, who cares? It doesn't matter. So what if I fall? What if I break a principle? What if I don't chant? Who cares anyway? You ever said that? Who cares? And you're right. Nobody, because you don't. If you don't care, nobody does. Your guru cares, but you don't care. So how can he care? Because you don't care. Right? So if I don't care, who cares? Who's left to care if I don't care? You're the last one to care for yourself, right? Just as I would not do anything to harm someone I love, when I love myself, I would not treat myself poorly or do anything that would harm myself. Yes? When I have self-compassion, it becomes impossible to cause myself the pain and suffering that would result from giving in to my weakness. So here's our little mantra. I never do anything that would harm myself or cause me pain. Let's read it. I never do anything that would cause myself. So that's last line, the last paragraph, I said, when I have self-compassion, it becomes impossible to do anything that would cause me pain. It's become impossible to do anything that's bad for me. Wouldn't that be good if you could not possibly do anything that was harmful to you? It'd be amazing. Yes? 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 Wow, you ate too many chapatis for lunch. Or whatever it was. What did you have for lunch? Too much rice. South India, yeah. You can't say yes if you eat too much rice. Yes? Yes. See? Too much rice, you can't say yes. Yes or yes? Yes! Okay, transcended the rice. Good. So, you're going to get a little mantra now. When confronted with a situation in which you are tempted to do something enjoyable that would eventually result in your own suffering, chant this protective mantra. I could never do that to myself. Say that. I could never. So it's 9 at night. You don't have your rounds done. Your eyelids are closing. And finishing your rounds is the last thing in the world you want to do. And you chant this mantra. I could never do that to myself. Or Maya Devi shows up at your door. The exact form of Maya you've been dreaming about, praying for the last million lifetimes. And there she is, offering herself to you. And you know if you take that, Maya is going to completely destroy you. And you tell yourself, I could never do that to myself. Let's chant the affirmation. Let's chant it together. I care about myself too much to allow myself to give in to any behavior that would cause me to suffer. I could never do that to myself. Look at, these are rupees up here. This picture is for you guys. Yeah, okay. We have an exercise. We don't have time to do it, but I'm going to show it to you. And this is the exercise. I love myself too much to allow myself to, and you fill in the blank. I love myself too much to allow myself to chant bad japa, stay up late at night, overeat, meditate on sense gratification, spend all this time on social media. Just go down the line. Anything you need to improve, you can just tell yourself, I love myself too much to allow myself to continue to do this, because it's harmful. And so that's how self-love works. Does that make sense? It's powerful, right? How does self-hate work? Self-hate works is, I hate myself so much that I don't care if I do this. That's how it works. It's the exact opposite. You know, like, probably you shouldn't do that, I know, but I don't care. Who cares anyway? Nobody cares. It's not going to matter. That's all self-hate. And self-love is the opposite. It is going to matter. Because I matter to myself, I matter to my guru, and I matter to Krishna. Krishna wants me to do this. Does that make sense? So, if we have all your email addresses, we can send you a list of about 35 I love myself too much. So I don't know if we have all your email addresses. Do we, or we don't? Or you have to, yeah? Or we can get them. Then we will send you some, we have many things we can send you. And one devotee said, I love myself too much to not love myself. Isn't that beautiful? Get to the essence. Okay, so can we turn the screen off? Is that possible? We're going to do a guided meditation. And I promised you this. Can we turn the screen off? Or can I turn it off from here? Where is the... yeah, turn the projector off. You are... The challenge of this meditation is I'd like you to close your eyes, but then you could fall asleep. So, you know, and I close one eye. Just look at the tip of your nose. Okay, I've got to play some background music for this. This is a guided meditation, and this is going to help you feel Krishna's love. Because you remember we said, if I feel Krishna's love, it makes it natural to love myself. I mean, if he loves me, like I say, if he loves me, if I'm good enough, if I'm good enough for Krishna, I'm good enough for myself. Yes? You can say that. If I'm good enough for Krishna, I'm good enough for myself. So I have some background music. I just have to get it on my phone. And this will take about 10 minutes, and it's a great ending to the workshop. Oh no. Okay. I want to see if we're still connected. Okay. This is called Krishna Loves You.
Krishna loves you.
Oh. It's actually, yeah. Oh, sorry. That's the wrong. I thought. I thought it was the music, but it's actually recording.
Krishna loves you. Guided meditation. A meditation on Krishna's.
Whoop. It's not working. I guess the internet. Okay. I'll just do it without the music. So if you can close your eyes.
Personal care.
Whoa.
And love for you.
This is called Krishna Loves You Guided Meditation, a meditation on Krishna's personal care and love for you. Krishna was personally involved in your life when he helped you come to Krishna consciousness. He knew what you wanted. He knew what you needed. And he brought your life to a point that would make you open and ready for bhakti. Then, at the perfect time, he arranged for you to meet him through meeting his devotees, getting prasadam, and receiving Prabhupada's books. Krishna was personally involved in your life. Meditate on how this all played out, how Krishna personally made all these arrangements, how Krishna personally sent his devotees to help you, how Krishna arranged your life so that becoming a devotee was natural. Take a few moments to meditate on all the events that brought you to Krishna consciousness. As you meditate on these events, think of the ways that Krishna pulled you out of material life and brought you to his feet. And meditate on how he was personally involved in doing this. And as you meditate on this, feel his personal care for you. Feel his personal concern and love for you. Allow yourself to feel how he made all these arrangements personally for you because he knew what you wanted and needed. And appreciate how Krishna is still showing you his love today by always guiding you, helping you, and providing for you. Now, allow yourself to feel his desire for you to come back to him. Allow yourself to feel his desire for a personal relationship with you. A relationship he has been wanting and waiting for since time immemorial. A relationship that is for your ultimate good. The only relationship in which you'll find true love. Allow yourself to feel what is in Krishna's heart. Feel his mercy. Feel his compassion. Feel his love. It's yours if you just take it. You don't have to deserve it. You just have to open your heart and receive it. Allow yourself to feel that Krishna wants this relationship. Feel what Krishna is feeling for you. Don't be afraid of a relationship with him. Be afraid of life without a relationship with him. Allow yourself to feel how Krishna's desire for a relationship with you is unconditional. That his love is not based on your qualifications, what you do. And his love is not restricted because of the mistakes, failures, and sins in your past. Allow yourself to understand and accept that Krishna doesn't know how not to love you, that it is not possible for Krishna to not love you, and that his love is so great that he even blesses his enemies. What to speak of those who are trying to be his devotees. Allow yourself to feel Krishna's love. Open your heart. Krishna knows your pain. He knows your struggles. He knows it's not always easy for you to be a good devotee. He knows you are trying, and he knows you need help. He is always ready to get you back to him. Allow yourself to feel his concern. Allow yourself to feel his support. Allow yourself to feel what Krishna feels toward you. Krishna is telling you in the Gita, because I love you, I am speaking this knowledge to bring you back to me. Because I love you, I am with you to guide you on the difficult road back to me. When you are in trouble, you can talk to me. I will listen. I am always here for you. I will never leave you, and I never will let you down. Because I love you, I arranged for you to meet Srila Prabhupada. I arranged for you to meet your gurus. I gave you association of devotees. Because I love you, sometimes I push you closer to me, even when you resist. I do this only for your benefit. Don't be afraid of surrender. All I am asking is that you reciprocate with my love. I love you. Will you love me too? You will never find this kind of love in this world. Krishna is inviting you to dance and play with him eternally. You don't have to suffer any longer in this world. Krishna is telling you that I have a place for you where you'll be eternally happy. Please come back. Let's dance and play together forever. I am inviting you. Please come home. You'll be happy. Krishna has been eternally inviting you to live with him. He is giving directions to get back to him. Just think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your obeisances to me. If you can just do this, I promise that you'll come back to me. You can trust my promise. Why do you hesitate? Accept my invitation. Krishna loves you and wants a relationship with you more than you want a relationship with him. Krishna will love you even if you don't love him. Allow yourself to feel Krishna's desire for you to come back to him. Allow yourself to feel how Krishna is missing you. Allow yourself to feel Krishna's heart, his pain that you are not with him. Allow yourself to feel Krishna's deep love for you. Do not doubt that he loves you. Open your heart and allow yourself to feel what Krishna is feeling. Try to reciprocate with this love. Your life has only one purpose: to feel Krishna's love and reciprocate with that love. Open your heart and allow yourself to feel this deep love. Open your heart and fan your desire to reciprocate with this love. Your life has only one purpose, to feel and reciprocate with Krishna's love. Remain with your eyes closed for as long as you wish. When you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes. And if you like, you can write down any realizations you had from doing this exercise. So we have officially ended the self-care workshop. Thank you all for coming. We will send you more things to remind you about what you've learned today. We have our affirmations recorded. We have our affirmations book. And this is just the beginning. What you've learned today needs to be practiced, needs to be meditated on. You need to be reminded of it. And we are putting up a self-care course that should be finished in about a week online, and we'll let you know. And you can take this, everything you learn plus more will be there. You can take it at home on your own time. And there are maybe 50 pages of things to read and about 15 exercises. We only did a few today, but at least it's a beginning. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. So how you felt the workshop? Not I think everybody is saying Hari Bol. So we thank all the devotees sitting from morning 8 a.m. till 4:30. How many are there since morning 8 a.m.? Please raise your hand. There, okay. So many devotees from morning 8 a.m. to there. So it was one of the very enlightening workshops. And as the course of the workshop was going on, I realized over a period of 20 years, many of the things I learned, that's how I'm staying in Krishna consciousness. It helped me a lot to identify, okay, these are the elements that are required, and to answer and inform, mentoring other devotees to help them, because many times we have lost many devotees because of not understanding this principles. So in mentoring, how to mentor the students so they don't go to these extremes of negative self-hate, I know they feel like not good for nothing and they go away. So it's a very important workshop, and many of the devotees that took feedback, they very much enjoyed and loved it. And especially the last part, that Krishna loves you. So that was very ecstatic part, because during Krishna book reading with the devotees, so that's the main theme which I will cherish in my life. You know, how Krishna loves us, and he brought it so nicely, how Krishna loved Kubja with his defected subtle body, defected gross body, how Krishna loves us. So you brought that point so nicely. So, so much grateful to you. So let us thank by one time chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, told this tomorrow morning in Sarjapur Road, morning 8 a.m. class. We will be giving on Japa there, morning 8 to 9:30 Sarjapur Road. Evening, the same seminar is going to repeat 3:30 p.m. It will be English with Hindi translation. So anybody has missed, they can attend it. Plus those who want in Hindi, it will happen in the temple hall. I think 3:30 to 7:30 will happen tomorrow. Radhapati Gopinatha will be doing the translation tomorrow. And Monday morning, so for the time we have Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam class by Prabhuji. So please take benefit of this association. What is there? And also those who want to give Dakshina for the travel and for other thing as a reciprocation, you may do so by giving to Sureshwar Prabhu. Sureshwar Prabhu is behind. So Sureshwar Prabhu is Master Prabhu's disciple. And because of Prabhuji, we have Maharaj here. And so we are very fortunate here. So, and those who want 4:30 prasadam is down again.
3 days is not enough.
3 days is not enough, we want more. No,